Namaskar. Good evening, dear devotees and friends. Today is Wednesday, and we will study the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, which I prefer to say Panchama Veda. So let us begin. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kabibhiriditam kalmashapaham sravana mangalam srimadatatam bhuvi grinanti e bhurida janaha. The last Wednesday we discussed on the inner feeling of Sri Ramakrishna. Is there very interesting, just the name, inner feeling. What he thinks, on which particular thing Sri Ramakrishna is giving so much of importance. And that is, Sri Ramakrishna said, that God is the doer. The God is doing everything. That is he says, that is my inner feeling. The last Wednesday, we discussed that the God is doing everything. See, if we really can think in that way, so we are depending on the God. Not only as a faith in God, faith in the existence of God, but completely depending on God. And by that way, we are completely eradicating our ego. The God and the human being, difference only ego. So when the ego is in between this God and the devotee cannot realize God, cannot see God, and that the moment we are depending on God, but it's not so easy. That's why Ramakrishna is telling my inner feeling. I am feeling if people could think in this way, and he gave so many references, like a small baby and constantly on the lap of the mother, they will care what is happening all around the world. The baby is completely depending on the mother. Mother knows what she should do and when she should do, how she should do. Baby is not at all. But can we take that position of a baby? No. Why? Because we have the ego. Anything anyone is trying to do for us, immediately we'll say, can you not do it like this? It is better to do in this way. Why? Because ego. I have my, and the God slowly goes away. When a child is growing up, I'm giving another example. When is a baby on the lap of the mother, don't give any idea or not having his personal thing, mother takes care. But when that baby is growing up slowly, I want that, I should eat this, and I should go over there, mother slowly withdraws, isn't it? Same way, the God is also separating from us because of the ego. So Sri Ramakrishna said, completely ego free. That was the last week we were discussing. The one point of Sri Ramakrishna's teaching is depend on God. But that is not so easy. But our goal should be on that. And today we will come to this, that God is everywhere. God belongs to all. God is everywhere, belongs to all. Friends, let us begin with this. We were discussing about that conversation that Master Masha has recorded when Sri Ramakrishna was visiting the Siddhi Brahma Samaj. We are slowly reading and going on discussing, analyzing, trying to understand. So the slow reading. And this is the page, the 633, the last para, Sri Ramakrishna. You have already read it, but still I am reading again. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning three words: master, teacher and father prick me like thorns. So for whom he is telling? For those who are claiming that they are the teachers and they think that they will guide the people. For them, master, teacher and father. I am the Son of God, the eternal child. How can I be a father? God alone is the mother and I am his instrument. He is the operator and I am the machine. At the continuation of my inner feeling. If somebody addresses me as Guru, I say to him, go away, you fool. How can I be a teacher? Sri Ramakrishna is telling this to teach us. Even the Master Maharshi, when he came to meet Sri Ramakrishna, not even a week or so, 1 or 2 visits, and Master Maharshi told to Sri Ramakrishna, shall we not go and tell people that God is not belonging in the... And Sri Ramakrishna rebuked him. You have not realized anything, you have not heard, known anything, and immediately like to go and teach, you like to give the lecture. This is the defect of you people, Sri Ramakrishna said. Why? The most of us, we like to teach others. The lady came and she was telling what are the functions. I told these are the things that mostly we read the scripture, we try to explain. So that is the major activity over here. So can I come and teach people because I have already realized God? Then I told that would have been very good, but the problem is that it is only our devotees, they come only to listen to the Swami belonging to this order, and sometimes. So I don't think we'll be able to invite you over here. So if I have already realized God, I really need the people's appreciation and attention. But I am hypnotized with my own thoughts. That is the problem in the spiritual life. Most of the people, they think that they have already realized. They are practicing a little and immediately, see, I said that and immediately it was happened. I thought and this happened. This is a sort of a hypnotizing, and that is dangerous in the spiritual life. Sri Ramakrishna, therefore, the person like Sri Ramakrishna, the God himself, he is telling, if somebody address me as Guru, I say to him, go away. He alone is the ferryman to take one across the ocean of the world. So our whole attention should go to God, the all-powerful, all-merciful, all-pervading, that consciousness. This moment we are not understanding, this moment our intellect cannot grasp that, but we can believe in the words of the personalities like Sri Ramakrishna and the other avatars. So God is there. He is telling to Vijay. It is very difficult to act as an acharya. Vijay Krishna Goswami. At that time, when Sri Ramakrishna is talking with him, he was with the Brahma Samaj. And Brahma Samaj, they is to have the acharya who will be teaching, will be guiding the. So naturally, it is also necessary for organized religion that somebody should be there to perform so the other people can follow. But one who is doing that, the acharya, is very difficult. It harms the acharya himself. Finding a number of men doing him reverence, he sits erect, crossing his leg, and says proudly, I am preaching, hear ye all. The Sri Ramakrishna, he is using the biblical language, ye all, you all instead. So that proudness, the pride that comes, this passage particularly, those who are giving the teachings. One young lady, she was coming from India to America. I was also in the same flight, and she was very happy and proudly telling, I am an acharya, I am teaching people. And you're very good. Now, these are all, the people don't understand what is the acharya means, or just they'll be expounding because they know the language, as having the command over the language, and they read that immediately. It is not like a philosopher or a professor in the college and school, not like that. It is a practice that you are practicing yourself and feeling and realizing, then only you can share it with others. And that too, if you get the permission from inner self, it will come. So this is the way one should. I am preaching here, ye all. This is very bad attitude. So Sri Ramakrishna is teaching us. He gets a little prestige and it ends there. People will say at most, Bijay Babu has spoken very well. He knows a great deal. And never cherish the attitude, I am preaching. I always say to the Divine Mother, O Mother, thou art the operator and I am the machine. That's why Sri Ramakrishna says, this is my inner feeling. Always depending on Mother, always depending on God, always thinking that on behalf of the Mother, I am just announcing. Sometimes the emperors, the kings, they will not announce their order. There will be people, the ministers particularly, they will be announcing the order of the king. It is like us. So we are only saying those things. It is not that we are telling, it is Sri Ramakrishna's words. But we are sitting together and reading and discussing, that's all, and trying to understand. Again and again when we hear these, then only because the ego is so strong, it's very difficult to break even. Forget about the evolutions of the ego. We have to break the ego. How? Hearing these words of Sri Ramakrishna. I can never become guru. I can never become a preacher unless and until I have realized God. So that is exactly what Sri Ramakrishna is telling. Never cherish the attitude I am preaching. I always say to the Divine Mother, Mother, thou art the operator and I am the machine. I do as thou makest me do. I speak as thou makest me speak. This was demonstrated in the life of Swami Vivekananda. When he was here in America, and almost every day he used to deliver 8 to 10 lectures. And you can imagine, before the audience who never heard of India, forget about Hinduism, who never heard of anything of the Indian tradition, Indian religion, Indian philosophy, and he is convincing them, teaching them, making them, feeling them in such a way that they are understanding it. It's so difficult. So slowly, he was thinking, what I'm going to speak next day. You know, some people, they have recorded in their memoirs that they could hear the Swami Vivekananda the whole night when he's sleeping, he's going on delivering lectures. He's talking. Next day morning, when they asked, Swamiji, with whom you were talking? I didn't talk. I was sleeping. But actually, Sri Ramakrishna made him practice that. He was speaking through Vivekananda. And that is exactly what Sri Ramakrishna is telling. You are the operator and I am the machine. I don't do anything. The Swami Vivekananda was completely dedicated, completely dependent on Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna was speaking through him. The goddess Kali was speaking through Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna is speaking through Swami Vivekananda. So that is when he is telling, it has been demonstrated in the life of his beloved disciple. Then Vijay, very humbly, please give me your permission, only then I will sit on the platform. The Acharya, that was the tradition of the Brahmas, that Acharya will be on a higher platform, naturally, everywhere, and then he will speak and he will give the dictums, and then he'll quote from the scripture, etc. People will listen. And sometimes they were having some of the prayers, they used to pray. Master with a smile. What shall I say? Because Sri Ramakrishna, he was a different, he was a worshipper of goddess Kali, and the Vijaya Krishna Goswami belonged to the Brahma Samaj. And Brahma Samaj never accepted goddess Kali or any image of god or goddesses. When the Vijay is asking before everyone, so how can I say? Pray to God yourself, He belongs to all. That is, God belongs to all. Pray to God. Then he said, even as Uncle Moon is the uncle of all children, you have nothing to fear if you are sincere. Now there is a footnote in the book. It says, in the folklore of Bengal, the moon is often pointed out to the children as their maternal uncle. And the children, they very much like to go to the father's house of the mother. That's called maternal uncle's house. So that when they go, the mother's brother is the maternal uncle, so they love him because children, they get all facilities from that, affection, the gift, so they like. So sometimes they used to say the moon is the maternal uncle. Chand Mama in Bengali they say. So he is telling like that, the God is the maternal uncle of all. You can pray to him. Then on being further requested by Vijay, the master said, yes, go. Follow the rules. Everything is all right if one has sincere love for God. Because Vijay Krishna Goswami was feeling hesitant to speak before Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. And when you are in the position of an Acharya, you have to instruct people to do this, do that. Sometimes it becomes very difficult when Sri Ramakrishna is sitting over there. So he took the permission and Sri Ramakrishna was happy. Vijay sat on the platform and conducted the worship according to the rules of the Brahma Samaj. At the time for the prayer, he repeatedly called on the Mother, touching the hearts of all. So this is a new introduction, Sri Ramakrishna's influence. They separated from Hinduism, not separated but that way, a group came, and because they were confused whether God can be in that form, in an image, in a picture. So that was the main debate. The main problem, as because the missionaries, they used to say, a group of people, that God is all pervading. How God can be in the image? There's a completely wrong conception. So when they used to think in that way, talk in that way, the educated Indians, the then educated Indians, they were educated mainly in the Western way of education. They also lost their hopes, and they were thinking it is better that if we can get converted into Christianity, or what we can do, at least we can have another parallel way where Hinduism will be practiced but without the form. And that was the Brahma Samaj. There was a Prarthana Samaj, then Arya Samaj. Like that, there are so many Samaj. The groups of people, they came up, they were all Hindu, but they wanted to belong to Hindu with a little alteration. And here we find the Bijay, he is praying to that Brahman as mother. And now, touching the hearts of all, after the worship, their host entertained the master and the devotees with the sumptuous feast. Soon they were ready to return home. Sri Ramakrishna became engaged in conversation with Bijay, and Bijay alone. Only Master Mashai was there. Sri Ramakrishna, you prayed to God addressing him as mother. That is very good. People say that the mother's attachment to the child is stronger than the father's. A son can force his demand on his mother, but not on his father. So this is the way Sri Ramakrishna was teaching. And slowly, these people, those who were thinking that they are separated from the Hinduism, they were turning back, particularly Vijay Krishna Goswami, then many others were there. And then some of the teachers, they didn't like it. So once when Sri Ramakrishna went to see the Sadharan Brahma Samaj, is near Tantanakali Badi, and he wanted to see and meet Narendranath. Narendra didn't visit him for a long time, so he went over there to meet. But the moment the Acharyas, they saw the Sri Ramakrishna is entering, still that building is there, they entering into that, they immediately put off all lights. It became very dark, and people so naturally wanted to rush out of the hall. Narendra, the young man, he was sitting on the dais. He was a very good singer, so everywhere they used to call him to sing the songs. He noticed Sri Ramakrishna, and he jumped from there, ran, and somehow saved him from falling, because the people were rushing out. And then, like a son to his father, said, "Why have you come over here?" The Sri Ramakrishna told, "Why you didn't visit Dakshinesha for a long time? I came to see you." But that is the love that Sri Ramakrishna was having, the affection Sri Ramakrishna was having for the Narendranath. But look at these people, they are educated people, cultured people. The moment Sri Ramakrishna was entering, they thought he is so popular, if he comes over here, all people will listen to him, and our teachings, the people won't take. So this was the one. From one scene we can understand some people were not liking Sri Ramakrishna to go and visit their assemblies. But some of them, Keshav Chandra Sen, Vijay Krishna Goswami, who were the founders of the Sadharan Brahma Samaj, they were slowly improving themselves. Sri Ramakrishna never said that you need not to follow this path. He only said, if you think God as mother, your feelings for God will be more strong. And that relationship, that God is my mother, will give you a force. You can demand on mother, but it's very difficult to demand on the father. And you can go and fight with the mother, you can cry, you can insist. That is exactly what Sri Ramakrishna is telling. Vijay, if Brahman is our mother, then has it any form or is it formless? See, that thought is constantly haunting these people. If the Brahman is our mother, because that is the main reason they were coming out of the traditional Hinduism. Hinduism accepts all, God with form, without form. With form, that helps people, ordinary people. And without form, it is very difficult to concentrate. It all depends on the mind. The mind has to be concentrated. Mind has to be focused. And where I will focus my mind if there is nothing? Is it possible for the ordinary people to focus on the mind on nothing? So obviously the Hindus, they developed this, the Brahmana Rupa Kalpana. They knew the Brahman cannot have the form. But the Kalpana, why? Bhaktanam Anukampartham. For the betterment, for the, we can say the affection, Anukampa, that is, they are trying to help, the God is trying to help, the Brahman is trying to help these people to come to him. So this conception of, that's why in the Hinduism there are so many varieties of forms, unlimited. You can think God in any form you like. And that is the reason. If they were so serious, they would have given, these are the 2-3 forms that you are supposed to worship, otherwise not. But no, anyone can worship God in any form. Sometimes Goddess Durga will be 10 hands, sometimes 6 hands, any form you like. Sri Ramakrishna, when he said Vijay Krishna Goswami, then naturally he asked the Brahman, if it is mother, okay, but with form or without form? Sri Ramakrishna, that which is Brahman is also Kali. Why Sri Ramakrishna is telling this? Because they used to criticize Goddess Kali in those days, very much. And some of the time the conversation with the doctor who used to visit Sri Ramakrishna, he remarked very badly, we can say, about the Goddess Kali before Sri Ramakrishna. Because the then educated people used to think, because they were fed by somebody else, and they thought that is there, as because they are coming from the foreign land, they are telling, they used to accept that, they used to feel accepting them, and Sri Ramakrishna alone is trying to rectify them. So Sri Ramakrishna is telling, that which is Brahman is also Kali, the mother, the primal energy. He said Kali, mother, and what is this mother? Primal energy. In the Vedanta, it says that everything that the God is doing through the primal energy. And this primal energy, Sri Ramakrishna is telling, the Tantra accepted as Goddess Kali, Shakti. There's sometimes Durga, sometimes Kali, sometimes many other forms. So this is only the Shakti, the power, primal energy. When inactive, it is called Brahman. This is the uniqueness of Sri Ramakrishna. The same energy, same power, same knowledge, when inactive, it is called Brahman. Again, when creating, preserving, destroying, it is called Shakti. He is giving the example again. Naturally, it is very easy to understand. The same power, not active, it is called Brahman. When active, it is called Kali. So Tantra developed this conception, and in the Shankha we find the same, they say Purusha and Prakriti. Because you have to explain the creation. The God just thought and everything has come. That is true. Ekaham Bahushyamabhi. That was the way, the creation. But you have to explain, otherwise the philosophy won't stand. And to explain, you have to give the reason. And what is the reason? The main problem, who is the creator and what is the material with which he created? That is the main problem of the philosophy. And unless you can explain these, your thought cannot be accepted as a philosophy. So every philosophy, all the religion, they try to explain this point. And in Hinduism, they say it is God who himself became two, one is a Nari, another is a Nara. So Ardha Narishwara, Ishwara, the God. Of half part, he became the man, a half again is the O-man, God himself. It is one way. Again he said, God through its power, and that is called Maya, the primal energy created. God is not weak. God has knowledge, God has power, and only problem, the material, it is he himself. Then if the God is creating out of himself, then is he exhausted? No. There the Vedanta says it is the reflection. It is only Maya. These are all different ways they try to explain, but Sri Ramakrishna, he is trying to convince the Vijay Krishna Goswami that you people think that Goddess Kali is an image, only stone image. No. The Goddess Kali is the primal energy, and when that Brahman, the consciousness whom you are praying, is active, that is called Kali. So same thing in two different names. Brahman, and again it says still water is an illustration of Brahman, and same water moving in waves may be compared to Shakti, Kali. What is the meaning of Kali? She who consumes with Mahakala. The absolute is Kali. Kala, the time, the period. The Mahakala, the conception of the Shiva. In the Tantra, always Shiva Shakti. The Tantra also explaining, Vedanta also explaining in this way, and the Bhakti Sutra also explaining the creation. The God wanted, so he has created. And the Tantra will say, the Brahman, that is Shiva. That's why inactive. And the same Shiva, same Brahman, active in connection with the consciousness, the Shiva, it is called Kali. The Kali is not separate from the Shiva. Kali is standing on Shiva. So this is also, you have to understand, the consciousness and the action that should go together, the knowledge and the action. She is formless, and again she has forms. If you believe in the formless aspect, then meditate on Kali as that. If you meditate on any aspect of her with firm conviction, she will let you know her true nature. Then you will realize that not merely does God exist, but he will come near to you and talk to you as I am talking to you. Sri Ramakrishna, I feel in this way, is to give the hint that he is the God, as I am talking to you. The God comes near you and he also talks with. But we have to understand, because in the contemporary people it is very difficult. Sri Ramakrishna was there, he was eating, sleeping, talking to people, visiting people, is just common. And it was very difficult for those people to accept him as God. Very few could do that. When Sri Krishna was there in his Sri Krishna form, majority of the people couldn't understand. They misunderstood him, that he is the supreme God. So Sri Ramakrishna, he is giving the hint, he will come and he will talk to you as I am talking to you. Have faith and you will achieve everything. Remember this too. This is a very important teaching that he is giving here. Remember this too. If you believe that God is formless, then stick to that belief with firm conviction. This is Sri Ramakrishna. This is the unity in diversity. And there's a unique way he is giving this message. When all people, they're fighting because of their ego behind their tradition or the teaching, Sri Ramakrishna is open. Sri Ramakrishna is telling only this: if you believe the God is formless, then stick to that belief with firm conviction, but do not be dogmatic. Never say emphatically about God that He can be only this and not that. This is the basic training of Sri Ramakrishna. One should not say that God is this and not that. It is not possible. God is infinite, and in infinite ways, infinite manners, He can manifest. You may say, I believe that God is formless, but He can be many things more. He alone knows what else He can be. I do not know. I do not understand. That is the true way. If only the religious teachers, they could understand these two lines, and there will be no conflict in the whole world between the or among the different faiths. This much. No conversion, no changes. If you like to follow your own method, follow it, and follow it doggedly. Follow it with all sincerity. But don't say that is the only path and God can be realized with only that. Don't use that only. That is the path, and others, whatever they are doing, that too will lead them to God. So God should not be limited, and that is the main teachings of the harmony of religion. He can, and he says that, how can man with his 1 ounce of intelligence know the real nature of God? Can you put your 4 shares of milk in a 1-shade jar? Ramakrishna giving that example. If God, through His grace, ever reveals Himself to His devotee and makes him understand, then he will know, but not otherwise. The God belongs to all. Why? Because God is all. Without God, there is nothing. Friends, if we see that the Guru Nanak, there is a story. The Guru Nanak was traveling, he was from the part of the northern part of India, the Panchama and those parts. And in one place he was resting. In those days people used to walk and to visit different places. He was resting under the tree, and his legs were towards the Kaaba, towards the east. And some people came and they protested. You cannot place your the legs to this, because in this side our God belongs. Our holy place belongs to that. Nanak's answer was very unique. Well, friends, take my leg and put to in that direction where there is no God. The God is everywhere. God in every direction. When the Hindus, they worship the goddess Durga, the 10 hands, why? Again it is symbolic. Not that the God is having the 10 hands. The 10 hands means 10 directions. That means God is everywhere. Through that image, this is the message the people should understand, the God is everywhere. And here also Guru Nanak is telling that God is everywhere. Well, friends, don't be angry with me. I don't know where there is no God. If you know that, please place my leg to that direction. I don't have any objection. So this is the teaching of true religion. When one realizes God, what he realizes, he sees that God is everywhere. That is the way the Lord Jesus also speaking. The same God is within me, and the kingdom of heaven is within you. The same purity, kingdom of heaven, he meant same purity. The same purity is in you too. This is the realization. Swami Vivekananda, much afterwards, he said, each soul is potentially divine. Each soul. There's no difference that if you are following only my path, my philosophy, then only your soul is pure. No, not like that. Each soul is potentially divine. Anyone realizing God will understand this, and if he is not talking in the same line, that means he has not realized God. After the God realization from any path, any form, any philosophy, this will be the knowledge that he will acquire. There was a Zafar Ali from the Sufi tradition. Zafar Ali used to say, शराब पीने दे जाफर को मस्जिद में बैठकर, वरना ये जगह बता जहां खुदा ना हो. The same tradition. Allow me to enjoy my drink sitting wherever I am, or if you think this is a pure place, holy place, I should not drink, well, tell me where there is no God, I will go to that place and sit over there. Is there any place where is no God? If God is everywhere, and God belongs to everyone, because God is all. This is the Vedantic teaching Sri Ramakrishna is giving in such a wonderful and a sweet way. Why? Because soaked in the syrup of devotion. The Sri Ramakrishna is telling like that, God is everywhere. That which is Brahman is Shakti, and that again is the mother. Sri Ramakrishna is telling that it is better to remember the God as mother. Why? Because mother is a conception in everywhere, wherever you are. The mother is that who takes care of the children. And if we think God as mother, then there is so soulless. I have done some mistake, and I know it is the mother will never ever tell me to go out and banish. If I have the conception of a father God, and there may be that father is angry and banishing the children, go out of my place, but mother will never say that. So that's why this very soft, very kind, very compassionate conception of God in the form of the mother, Sri Ramakrishna is insisting that you must take. It becomes easy for us to approach to God. And what we should do, we should just pray, and pray with tears. And mother's heart, immediately she will forgive us and grant us whatever we are praying. Ram Prasad, Sri Ramakrishna is singing a Ram Prasad song, and Ram Prasad is also telling that Brahman and Kali are the same. And that Ram Prasad, those who knows the Ram Prasad songs, now it has been translated into English also. So some of you can read. So this Ram Prasad is also again and again telling, Kali Brahma jene marmo dharma dharma shop chedechi. Knowing, understanding that the Brahman and the Kali are the same, now I have given up what is the righteousness, what is unrighteousness. There is nothing, no difference. Everything belongs to God. So that is, adharma means unrighteousness, unrighteous actions. Action forbidden by the religion. And dharma means the pious actions prescribed by the religion. For instance, charity, feeding the poor, Brahmins, etc. So these all that Ram Prasad is telling, and there is no difference between Kali and the Brahman, only two words. In the Bhagavata also we find. Bhagavan, then Brahman, they're all same. And is Vijay Krishna, what remains if one renounces both dharma and adharma? Sri Ramakrishna's answer. This is a very pertinent question when quoting Ramprasad Sri Ramakrishna is telling, I know the goddess Kali, that means the God in the form of action, creating and then preserving and destroying, and also the Brahman without action are the same, then I know I need not to do anything. Everything is that Brahman or Kali. And he used two words, dharma and adharma, righteousness, unrighteousness. Now Vijay Krishna, he is asking like a very ordinary person, and it is good for us, he asked that question. He said, what remains if one renounces both dharma and adharma? Sri Ramakrishna's answer, it cannot come from intellect. It cannot come from book reading. It's from the realization. And when one becomes God himself, this answer can come. Then he said, pure love. Pure love for God. Then he was immediately, one sentence, only two words, that is sufficient. So what remains when there is no righteousness and unrighteousness? Pure love for God. Nothing else. I am not asking anything from God, not even the heaven. I just love you. And Sri Ramakrishna, quoting from his own, as if how one should pray, he said, I pray to the Divine Mother, Mother, here take thy dharma and here take thy adharma, righteousness and unrighteousness, and give me pure love for thee. And he continued, take thy virtue and take thy vice, and give me pure love for thee. Take thy knowledge and take thy ignorance, and give me pure love for thee. You see, I didn't ask even for knowledge or the public recognition. When one renounces both dharma and adharma, there remains only pure love of God, love that is stainless, motiveless, and that one feels only for the sake of love, love for love's sake. In Swami Vivekananda's lecture on the devotion, he used his love for love's sake. Love knows no barter, Swami Vivekananda said. I will love you in exchange if you love me. And I give you some gifts. In exchange, you should also remember my birthday and give me some gift back. If that is the condition of love, we cannot say that is love. Love only one way. I just love. And I don't have any demand. And I don't have anything, I don't want anything in return. So that is called divine love. When you love to God, whether God will bless me or I will be protected, I will be all, I don't care. That is very, very pure. When nothing remains in the mind, there remains this purity, purity of love. And God is love. What is God? Nothing but love. And when Swami Vivekananda was asked about Sri Ramakrishna, who is the God himself, the Swamiji, he said, oh, Sri Ramakrishna, L-O-V-E, personified. Only love, love concern for others. Oh, these people are suffering. How to go and help them, guide them, and permanent solution. Turn your mind towards God, and you will get the peace, the joy, the happiness. And if you have the desire to become somebody in the society, that also you will get. But before that, you turn your minds towards God. Then Vijay Krishna is asking, is God different from His Shakti? We are asking a very good question. Is God different from His Shakti? After attaining perfect knowledge, one realizes that they are not different. If we read every line of the Gospel, we find the whole philosophy there. And those who don't have any idea about the Vedanta philosophy or the Tantra and the devotional Vaishnava path, it's very difficult to understand Sri Ramakrishna's answers. Apparently it is so simple. They are the same like the gem and the brilliance. But before that he said, after attaining perfect knowledge, one realizes that they are not different. After realizing, after convincing oneself that yes, it's the God and everything is done through God's power. Without the God's power, nothing can be there, and power cannot be there if there is no God. So they are interdependent and they are the same. And Sri Ramakrishna is giving the answer like the gem and the brilliance. Thinking of the gem, one cannot but think of the brilliance. Again, they are like the milk and the whiteness. Now, if we close our eyes and think about milk, and what we will think? About the white liquid, isn't it? So, whiteness and the milk cannot be separated. They are so interrelated. The God and the Shakti are interrelated. They can never be separated. Thinking of one, you must also think of the other. But you cannot realize this non-duality before the attainment of perfect knowledge. Friends, here again the attention should be given. You cannot realize this non-duality. The duality is so common, and we are born because of this duality. Again and again we are coming to this circle of birth and death because of this duality. Because I am separate from others. Because of the I, the ego, we are taking birth, we are taking forms. So obviously, to go beyond this is really, really very difficult. So he is telling this, but you cannot realize this non-duality before the attainment of perfect knowledge. Attaining perfect knowledge, one goes into samadhi. Samadhi means forgetting the body consciousness. Those who have tried to meditate, you know, our mind always goes out and it is so difficult to control. If you ask any question to anyone, immediately first question will be how to control the mind. Even the personality like Arjuna of the Mahabharata fame, that Arjuna is also telling the Krishna, if you ask me to do this, do that, it is possible. But to control the mind is impossible. So that is why when they say samadhi, when one goes to samadhi, when one forgets the whole body and his own existence. And how it is possible? There is no ego. When we forget that I consciousness, so naturally anything associated with that I, that is my body, that is my all the belongings, my mind, my family, everything goes away. And then only samadhi. Beyond the 24 cosmic principles, therefore, the principle I does not exist in that stage. A man cannot describe in words what he feels in samadhi, because there is no I. So how he will record, oh, acha, these are things that I am feeling? These are completely different. Friends, these words that we are reading, we are trying to understand intellectually, unless and until the realization comes, a deep meditation, experience of deep meditation comes, is very difficult to understand. But at least we can understand from the words of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna that this is a feeling where there is no I. And as because there is no I, what remains? Joy, love, peace, extreme happiness. So that is the feeling after coming back they could express. Satyam, Priyam, Anantam, Brahma. After the realization, when they came down and when the people asked, the disciple asked, then they said, this is Ananta, it is eternal, no ends, no beginning. And it is the truth. Truth means also existence, then the knowledge, and also the bliss. To that way. And it says, a man cannot describe in words what he feels in samadhi. Coming down, he can give just a hint about it. I come down 100 cubics, as it were, when I say Om after samadhi. Because even the conception of Om also is lost. Brahman is beyond the injunctions of the Vedas and cannot be described. There neither I nor you exist. Brahman is beyond the injunctions of the Veda. The Veda is described. The rishis, the pure souls, the seers, whatever they felt, realized in the pure mind, calm, composed mind, whatever the reflection came, that they have recorded. But obviously they could not describe the Brahman because it is beyond any description. Satchid Ananda Sarupa, that much they could say. This is the existence, knowledge and bliss eternal, absolute. So this is the way they have described. But this is only these three and nothing else? Again, no. It can be beyond that, we do not know. At least this is the way we could describe. So that is, as long a man is conscious of I and you, and as long as he feels that it is who prays or meditate, so long will he feel that God is listening to his prayer and that God is a person. And that is why again and again Sri Ramakrishna said, practicing the pure knowledge path is very, very, very difficult. In the Bhagavad Gita also Sri Krishna is telling the same thing. If we try to do that, our energy will be spent on something and we won't get any return. Sometimes some parents, they want that their children should become a doctor and they admit them in the medical college. Maybe after 2 years, then that student will feel it is impossible for me to pursue this particular subject. So he comes back and goes to another. So naturally 2 years and all that energy is lost, first. And second, he also lost the self-confidence. Oh, I couldn't do that. And people again and again will remind him, oh, you couldn't be successful in the medical school, right? So that is the way one also feels, I won't be able to realize God. So choosing a path is very important. And that is why Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is telling, if you think that God is without form, of course he is without form. Stick to that path and sincerely follow that. Along with that, also remember, don't say this is the only path. Don't be dogmatic. That is the teaching of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. And he says anyone and everyone can realize God. This mostly some people, because they had some other thing in mind, they wanted to sell religion and earn some money and the prestige in the society. They said only this class of people can realize God and nothing else, nobody else. You have to go through us to God. Sri Ramakrishna is breaking that. The God belongs to all. Whoever will pray to God with a faithful, open heart, the God will come to him. If he wants to see God with form, that is also good. Without form, that's also okay. In any form, that's also okay. Only one thing is necessary: the faith in the existence of God, first. Second, sincerity to pursue. I think we should stop over here. Thank you, friends, up to this. And the next day again, we'll start from 335 page. Yeah, yes. Any question?
Yes, ma'am. So, Somyajit Das is asking, saying, can we benefit from virtual sadhu sangha like we benefit from real sadhu sangha?
There's a sadhu sangha is a virtual, means you are listening, isn't it? And when you are listening, that is the sangha. But physically, in person, when you come and you sit before someone, talking to him, that is the different impressions, of course. But sadhu means his instructions. Not that particular person, but the instruction. Now this 1 hour, we were having the company of God, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, his unique way of explanations, and so many things we have learned. So why we should not get benefit in the online sadhu sangha? We will get that.
The next question is from Tuhin. What is the significance of various weapons which different gods used to hold?
Well, Tuhin, is a very good question. But in Hinduism, if you see, almost all gods and goddesses are having some weapons. But Hinduism is a very meek and very docile, and it never kills and never says anything to go and kill, nothing like that. Why this? Because that is a symbol of power. Hinduism, when you see the picture or the images, they give the image, at the back of it, there is a philosophy, some ideas, some conceptions. And God is all powerful. And to give that conception, they give those powers. In those days, it was like that. Astra and Shastra, and they used to say, and some of the weapons they used to hold and fight, some of the weapons they used to throw. So both are there to give that conception, God is powerful.
The next question is from Shipra Mukherjee. Shipra is asking, how can we realize God is everywhere?
Oh, this is a practice, Shipra, that you have to go on practicing it. The God is everywhere. Sometimes we see the flower gardens, and immediately we are overwhelmed to see that beauty. Oh, beautiful, the flower garden. But we forget, who has given those colors? Who has given those wonderful flowers? So each and everything that you see, just take your mind back to God and say, thank you, God, for giving us this beautiful scenery, birds, the singing, the air, the river, and the beautiful nature. And along with that, you have given some villains also. There are deers and at the same time tigers. And there are good people, there are some bad people. So like that, if in the life there is no villain, no one will go to see the movies. In the movies, all good people, they are sitting together, helping each other. Do you think people will go to see the movie? No. So even in the bad people, even in the villains also, the God's grace is there. He is, or it is acting as the God directed. So, in that way, in good, in bad, in everything, try to see God. And today's imagination, tomorrow's realization. Thank you. So, let us conclude with this pranam mantra. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrita vigraham vai Ishavataram parameshamidhyam tam Ramakrishnam shirasa namamaha. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.